That's good. All right. And look, any words of wisdom? I mean, what's, a couple of things that you've really learned that has helped you in your property journey that you think could help other people that you've learned since being with me?
I think what I've learned most importantly is just get out there in terms of viewings, view more properties. Let the agents know who you are. Let them know exactly what you're looking for. If you're always in their face, they're likely to remember you. And one thing Trevor always says is you have to have something that's memorable. So they need to remember something about you. So I don't know, you can say something or, so just anything that will make them remember you when a deal comes up. And that's one thing Trevor always says. And I think it definitely does work. Yeah.
Brilliant. You're laughing as well. Humor's good as well. I love it. I do. Listen, Deji, thank you so much for that. That's brilliant. And I look forward to speaking to you Saturday morning. All right.
Brilliant.
I know it's Easter, but we're going to keep going. We don't stop. All right. Bless you. Deji, thank you for that. All right, guys. So I'm going to give you really short. I know time's on. I always look to go for about an hour and a half this evening. So I'm nearly there. All right. Home run. Purchase lease options. For people who have never heard of a purchase lease option, this is it. All right. I might even get on here. It is a blank sheet of paper and nothing else. What does that mean? It means it's a blank sheet of paper where two parties, somebody who owns a property and an investor, me, who we come together and say, look, I want to buy your property, but I might not have money now. So how are you going to buy it? So let's come into a legal agreement that allows me to buy in the future for an agreed price, an agreed time. The only thing is you can't live there. You've got to move out. So this is a very powerful agreement that when it's done only through solicitors, the owner of the property must have independent legal advice, independent financial advice. You cannot give that to them and must not, all right? But it doesn't suit everyone. I was scammed, as I said right at the beginning, right back in the day when I started. I was struggling for money to pay everything, and purchase lease options was the thing that got me out. So I'm going to show you the very first one that I ever did. But I'm going to give you some headlines. I can't give you the whole thing I've got a course about this if you want to do it. Some of the guys have seen it. But what is it? It's a contract that gives you the right to buy, but not the obligation. So let's say when you normally buy a property, you would normally exchange contracts and complete, and you've got it, you get the keys, and that's it. When you exchange, if you don't complete, they can sue you. All right. With this one, you have to be careful though, because terms and conditions with a contract means terms and conditions. So each contract is different and you need legal advice yourself when you're doing this. But basically, you're not obligated to go through to the purchase because you have not exchanged contracts. So it's a very powerful one that the owner can't sell it because you have control of the property. And with a purchase lease option, the word being lease, you're going to basically pay them something on a monthly basis, whether it is you'll pay the mortgage or you'll pay them a rent. If you're going to pay them a rent, supposing the normal rent is £1,000, the maximum you go to is about 700. And so then you can legally, because you'll get a commercial contract with it, a management contract, so you can sublet it legally. And I can put an AST in there. I could do, let's say, a mini motor. That's like two nurses who pay, whatever, a lot more money, and you can make a profit going forward. Plus, if it's a property that, let's say it's worth £200,000 now, I'm going to buy it in 5 years' time, and I can make, and remember, it's a blank sheet of paper. I can tell you that so I was involved in one that was on the market for 2.5 million, and we agreed to buy it in 12 months for 2.7. All right. It doesn't matter. I could say I buy it at 2.4 and I'll give you 50% of the uplift or 20% of the uplift. You see, it's a blank sheet of paper. You can structure it any way you want. Very, very powerful. You have control of the property. You get control. So when I show you the very first one, you'll see I didn't make huge money, but it was great and it was a start. You have to get, so it's a residential property for someone, and you're going to turn it into a rental property. You have to get consent to let from the lender. So if there's a mortgage on the property, and there's lots to do about speaking to the mortgage company, getting consent to let. And so it gives you the right to let it, because a residential mortgage does not give you permission to rent it out. All right. So you have to get that formal thing, permission. It costs about 220 quid for that document. I always pay that. It gets sent to the owner. They sign it. I pay the check, and then away we go. Quite often, to secure a contract in British law, money has to exchange hands. So quite often it's known, and you'll hear people say, buy a house for £1. You can't buy a house for £1, but the agreement can be secured with the minimum, which is £1, which is a legal consideration that binds the contract between two parties. Okay, it could be, let's suppose you find a property and someone does want to move. This suits them. This particular thing suits them, but they've got, I can't afford the £2,000 moving fee and the £1,000 for the deposit on the next house. Well, you could make the option fee £3,000, and that's going to come off the purchase price when you buy it. Or, very importantly, I'm going to come to it in a second, which is really good. You're going to love this. The vendor nor their family can live in the property. Must not, because you're breaching a rule which is about, it goes against sale and rent back. That's an old thing which used to happen, and you will get done if you try to do it. So don't allow the vendor nor their family. You have a set amount of time on an option agreement. So that could be 1, 2, 5 years, 20 years, whatever it is. It's agreed between the two parties. You will agree a purchase price. And the number one, which is the most important, it will be, so monthly payments. Oh, I haven't got number one there. It's assignable. That means when the contract is done, I'm not tied in to buy it in 12 months or 5 years. It means I can take that property and I can go down to the estate agent, stick it in the window, and I can sell it to anyone I like. And that's great. And the powerful thing about an option, here we go. Now, the powerful thing about the option is, look, let's suppose that's my first one. I'm going to come to that in a second. Let's suppose you find a property that is 200,000, but it's got a great garden, and you think you could build 2 or 3 houses. Well, look, you could take an option. Let me have an option to buy your house in 12 months or 18 months for £220,000. Okay, work with me. You'll spend, let's say, £6,000-7,000 on getting planning permission, the architects and permissions for 2 houses in the garden. Now you own that. So how much would those houses be? Maybe £200,000 each. Now you're looking at a total of 600,000. Maybe build. You could sell everything now, possibly for 280,000. You make yourself a nice little tidy profit. Very, very clever. And so options are extremely powerful. You can have long running with money coming in, and you can make a lot of money. Okay. So my first one, it wasn't on Rightmove. This was direct to vendor through my marketing. And some of the times, guys, I would knock the door and say, are you thinking of selling? It doesn't bother me. I'm married. I'm used to rejection. Don't worry, honestly. Okay. So the market value, and I have a golden rule. I always try to buy. So what did I offer? So in your message, can you please just quickly type in, how much did I offer to buy this? It's on them. If they want 60,000 or the value is 60,000, quickly put down what you think in the text box. How much did I offer? Okay, let's see. The budding property investors. What would you offer to buy this deal? I offered. I didn't know the purchase price was that, but I offered, I haven't got the offer there. I offered them, I can tell you, £42,000 is what I offered, but they turned around and told me their mortgage was 47, so they couldn't take it. So we agreed a purchase price in 5 years' time of £52,000. Okay. Now, they were paying their mortgage on the capital and interest. Now, this is the very first one I did, and when I was taught, they taught me you can only do it if they do interest only. So you can't advise them. So I said, look, I'm sorry, I could only do it if you changed your mortgage onto interest only, but that's not my decision. That's up to you. And they went and did it. So when you see what they were paying, you'd ask, Trevor, why on earth would they do this? I will tell you. But their mortgage was £79 a month when it went onto interest only, and I rented it out at £500 and I managed it myself. I was making £5,000 a year profit from one deal. And that's why I went crazy after that, and that's how I changed my life. Well, get out of all that scam, because I was paying £2,000 more than what I was earning. So it was crazy. Why did they do that? Well, They were always on benefit. They were very low pay. All right. She was a cleaner and he was a teacher's assistant. And they bought the property. They lost all benefits and they had to pay council tax. They didn't like it. Been there about 2 or 3 years and they didn't want it. So they wanted out. Plus they had the neighbor from hell. So when I did this, I was working with the police a lot. The police went in next door, raided it, and they got arrested because they were dealing drugs and everything. And that was it. Now, it's not the best of areas. And I did some stuff for my business partner in Grimsby. I haven't been to Grimsby for many, many years now. And I have no interests in Grimsby. But it was my proving ground, and I did an awful lot. And if anyone knows Grimsby, I think that's called West Marsh, that particular area where Willingham and Hilliard and Stanley Street and all those ones are. I knew them very, very well. I used to walk up and down them all the time. So, purchase options, right to buy, no obligation to purchase, set amount of time, agreed purchase price. You can have special conditions agreed. You can have profit share. You don't always have to have a fixed price. You can have a profit share and many other things. Assignable contracts, very, very important. Most contracts are done assignable. Some people ask them not to be in. If you don't have the assignable bit in, you have to think that means you have to buy it. So if you can't or whatever, but you don't need credit checks for this, which is crazy. You don't need good credit. This is something that you can do all day long. Okay. So guys, that I think is that, but this particular man, this was interesting. All right. So I taught this man 10 years ago and he had a company, business was going into liquidation of 400,000. I'm not going to read it. You can see that if you want to read that there, 400,000. But I taught him how to do options. He went and did this. Sorry, that's jumped out. He went and did it on a big scale, really big scale, £400,000. And he managed to make a lot of money. He really did. But he put a team. So he had a business which was going under. He got his team to absolutely blitz his area and he got out. There's no doubt that education is the key. So I left school with 1.0 level. I did a couple of degrees later on in life because I just have a passion to learn. But education is the key. All right. So obviously we have some training courses. We have purchase lease options. We have the buy, refurb, refinance, the buying at auctions. And if you're thinking about buying at auctions, please, honestly, it will be the best money you spend to do that course. I tell you why, because it will save you time, money, and pain. I promise you. Otherwise, I'll give you your money back on that. I guarantee the auction ones. For anyone who's looking at doing sourcing, a bit like Michael, then it's really important to understand sourcing from an investor's point of view. And unless you get the investor's mindset, just like Michael said tonight, but that one doesn't work because he's starting to understand it, then you really don't get it. Really don't. And, you know, there's not many good sources in this country. I promise you, there really aren't. So by learning, and these are all online courses, they come in 12 videos, chapters, and I have books. So if you sign up, we send you a book as well. And it is very good in-depth teaching, all from me, those ones. And then we've got more stuff, rent to service accommodation, rent to HMO, which Leslie does. We do that live. We're waiting until we can get back in. And we do one-to-one mentorship, which you know is high ticket. But we don't do many, and you have to qualify to come in with us. So that's what we do. We have an offer for you guys. We do charge basically £1,000 per course. But if you wanted these 3 courses, which is me, and my voice doesn't annoy you too much, we have an offer for you, which is a total of nearly £3,000. If you want in, you can buy all 3 before midnight tonight at a crazy price, which is £1,000. So there is the link. Leslie, I don't know if you can copy that link and stick it in the chat bar if anybody wants it. I'll leave it there for a minute. You can copy it out, take a photo. If you want to do that, if you want to talk any more about it, just message us, and away we go. Hopefully you got that link. I am going to come out of there, and so I can see you and answer the questions you may have. So stop share. I'm back, guys. Nice to see you. So I'm just going to go into the chat box. There's 14 things. Love the accent, Aaron. Yeah, the valleys. We always love those accents. The house looks fantastic. Yeah, wow, amazing. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, 3 million. Yeah, thanks. Great tonight. 37,000. I like that. That would have been on that.